Thanks for watching the video. This is Pascal for EMP Reviews. I am currently editing the second Tenet video, but I thought I'd pause that to discuss what some have described to be a cultural moment, the seemingly final nail in the coffin that is the Marvel Universe. Again, I'll first quickly summarize the plot of the Marvels and then detail my reactions to the film. Kree leader Dar-Benn finds the quantum band she sought on a planet and activates it when locking it onto her forearm, but is angered when not locating the expected other piece. Off-screen, Dar-Benn combines the power of the band with the Cosmi Rod, the hammer previously wielded by Ronan the Accuser, and creates a jump gate, but it is unstable, causes surges, and stays open. This tear in space also causes surges at the other end of that gate, near Earth. The activation of the bracelet also triggers Ms. Marvel's armband back on Earth. On a global space station, Nick Fury discusses the disturbance and its investigation by Monica Rambeau with Captain Marvel and asks her to investigate the problem at her end. Both women simultaneously touch the affected gates, which results in a surge affecting them and Kamala Khan. All three women switch places, but Marvel shifts everything back to normal when she uses her powers to fly when finding herself on Earth. She discovers that the Kree are involved and that they're planning a move against the Skrulls. When attempting to use her powers against some Kree guards at the negotiating location on planet Tarnax between the two races, several switches happen. This transportation is a pattern throughout the film, and that eventually lands all three heroes on that world, ending with an initial battle against Dar-Benn. She ends this fight by creating an additional jump point. The gate is unstable and sucks out that world's atmosphere, endangering the Skrulls on that world, many of which barely escape. Dar-Benn returns to Hala, giving the stolen clean air to her people. She reminds them of the Captain Marvel attack decades before, where she destroyed the Supreme Intelligence, claiming that this would free them. This resulted in a Hala civil war, a drought, the loss of most of the atmosphere, and a dying sun. According to Kree legends, as Carol Danvers describes, the quantum bands were used to create all of the jump points in the universe, which are now causing all of the shifts for the three women. Marvel also describes the destructive events on Hala, and Rambeau concludes that Dar-Benn is creating unstable jump points in the galaxy, having combined the powers of her hammer, the Cosmi Rod, and her band. These gates are being used to steal resources from planets and transporting them to Hala. Predicting that Dar-Benn would attack the planet Aladna next for water, the heroines team up with its inhabitants, which Captain Marvel is acquainted with, to lure her there and engage her. During the battle, Dar-Benn initiates another gate and begins extracting water. Marvel realizes that she is specifically targeting places that Danvers has emotional attachments to. Earth is next, as she begins taking the energy from the sun. The heroes engage her, grabbing the rod and switching places at every energy surge. Dar-Benn describes that Hala's son died because of Marvel's actions on Hala, but Rambeau suggests that she has the power to reignite that star. Moments later, Ben manages to get the other band from Ms. Marvel and dies when the resulting power of both gauntlets explodes. The explosion alters the last gate made by Ben, which was created to suck energies from the Earth's sun, which now opened a doorway to another reality. The three women combined their powers and the quantum bands to attempt to fix the tear in space, which also requires Rambeau to cross the entrance. They manage to close the gate, but leaving Monica stuck on the other side. In the final scenes, Captain Marvel revives the Hala sun, and later, Kamala Khan meets Kate Bishop in order to recruit and form the new Young Avengers. The post-credit scene shows Monica waking up next to her mom, who doesn't recognize her, at the age she was in the 2019 film. Beast from the X-Men describes that she is in a reality parallel to her own and leaves the room in what appears to be a medical facility, displaying a full view of Maria Rambeau, who here is the Marvel heroine Binary. Right off the gate, one could say that the movie was dead on arrival. 4 delays for the release, rumors about discord on the set due to Brie Larson angry that she has been demoted from being solo in her first film to now being one of 3 stars in its sequel. Repeated comic book cancellation of relaunching of both Captain Marvel and Miss Marvel due to disinterest, low viewership of the Miss Marvel series on Disney Plus, and the list goes on. The use of animation at the beginning of the film is cool and reminds me of the short clip at the end of Tank Girl, but for the Marvels, it is part of the unbalanced shifting in tones in this movie. This was definitely a similar problem with the first Captain Marvel film, which also switched from one direction of storytelling to another. On the one hand, we have Dar-Benn, who clearly is in pain when she describes the fate of her people. We see the apocalyptic darkness on Hala as the sun there is barely alive, but then we have an excruciating scene where an entire planet of people sing anytime they want to communicate, as well as the painful comedy delivered by Kamala Khan's family interactions. Dar-Benn's use of her hammer is ridiculous considering its destruction in the first Guardians of the Galaxy film. How is it that Dar-Benn has it? And how is it that she apparently managed to construct it back together? This is never explained. The majority of the fight sequences involving Captain Marvel are just plot convenience since, according to the first film, she has an insane amount of power. She should just be able to obliterate all of her opponents. The producers of this character were so quick to create her for the Marvel Universe back in 2019 that they didn't bother to make sure she had a weakness, her version of kryptonite. She's essentially invincible and also can travel at the speed of light. This is all I was thinking about during the battle on the Singing Planet when fighting all of the Kree soldiers and their drones, and the final fight against Dar-Benn as she destroyed much bigger threats in her initial film. Also, at the end of the Marvels, she flies into the Hala sun and reignites it, essentially displaying the power of a god. No one with this much power should have any difficulty fighting the obstacles Danvers faced in this story. The amount of windows and their dimensions in the orbit elevator Nick Fury is seen in several times is ridiculous considering that environment. Not to mention the repeated use of firearms there and how he conveniently missed the windows every time he fired. I don't know why it was decided to make actress Zhao Ashton as excessively unattractive as she is in the movie. She makes bizarre facial expressions and wears a grill in her mouth. Her outfit feels like a bad costume design that would fit in the movie Battlefield Earth. The overall use of comedy is awful. There's too much of it and it's not witty by any means. It's as bad as it was in Ant-Man Quantumania. It takes me right out of the movie, roll my eyes, and actually generates boredom. The singing on Alabna was excruciating to sit through and is definitely one of the reasons I will never see this movie again. The X-Men computer-generated Beast at the end has great lip positioning animations to the point where you can actually read his lips, but overall does not look very good. Kelsey Grammer has a great voice and delivery, but the use of this post-credit scene as an introduction to the Disney X-Men universe felt as flat as the post-credit scenes in Ant-Man 3 when additional Kang variants were introduced as some sort of dire threat. Though the plot constructs an occurrence where the use of powers by the 3 women results in them switching places, that rule is randomly broken, as this does not happen consistently. This is never explained, and in spite of this supposed effect of the bands, the 3 women somehow find themselves in one place on Tarnax. I think the general plot is a good concept, but myself, I need much less comedy. Captain Marvel needs a weakness. Miss Marvel and her family need to be completely removed, not to mention the silly outfits and the singing on Aladna, and better special effects and costume design. It's encouraging to see that Disney, Marvel, and Kevin Feige seem to realize that the box office failure of this movie and general disinterest in MCU products are clear signs that things must change in their productions, but I have little hope that their solutions will work. I sadly suspect that Marvel will never again provide us with films like the first Iron Man, Captain America Winter Soldier, or the first and third Avengers films. They are out of touch with their audience, and I see no evidence that they will be able to change that fact. Thanks again for watching the video. My second Tenet video should be out soon, and I hope you enjoy it.